Sunday's episode, which is Sofia, decided to team up with Sal.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what's going through her mind in that thought process?
Yeah, I mean,
to form such an alliance.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's sort of like multi-layered, but I would say that like the two strongest parts of it are that it's like the move, because she needs that alliance. It's like a power. It's strategically like the right move, and it's like another way to disrespect her dad. And I would say like that's probably the biggest one. And also she's like very smart and knows what she has to do. So I think it's kind of like delightful that they both that it's like killing two birds with one stone. Yeah.
You had some really incredible scenes with Colin in the whole season.
Oh, thanks.
Was it difficult when you're in the talk to Colin or Oz, because all that prosthetic makeup?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it'd be like when the scene's over, are you still talking to Colin or are you talking to Oz?
It would fluctuate sometimes. Sometimes it's Oz, and you know, like let's not. And it's also sometimes you don't even want to talk to Colin because you're trying to stay in the same mindset you're trying to stay in. And so, honestly, half the time the take's done, and it's like we kind of look at each other like, you know, how do we feel? We give a look, and then we go on our way. And he honestly was so hot in the thing. He was in a tent half the time, so he'd go to his tent, I'd go to my chair, and then we'd come back in and do it, and then run it again, go again and again. But it's like, am I talking to Colin? No, I'll talk to him in between, like massive different in between takes. It's he and it's me and Oz, and just kind of focus more than anything. Yeah.
So we have a few more episodes left. More.
Yeah.
For Victor, what's the idea of power coming into his mind? You know,
yeah,
like he's creeping in.
Yeah, I think
he's got different ideas that he's got going.
Yeah.
For you, like, you know, for everybody that hasn't seen it, like, where do you think that's going?
I think it's exciting to him, this idea of power. I think that he doesn't put himself in Oz's shoes, because that's I think too much for him to try. It's overwhelming. I think that he knows I can play a part. I want to help this guy. I like this guy. You know what? He wants to help me. I want to help him. This is what we want to do. Let's go effing do it then. Let's go do this thing. And I think that he knows that if they do a good enough job, and I think he trusts Oz to do a good job, that we can really change the game. We can really be at the top of this game. And so I think it's just exciting. He's like, fuck yeah, let's go do this thing. You know, I think that's kind of the energy.
What I love about the series is the chemistry you guys have with Colin and Cristin. How easy was that, especially with the sparring sessions that you guys would have, the screaming matches? It was just effortlessly on film. Was that easy for you guys to just get into?
I mean, I'll speak for me personally. Working with the two of them, I mean, you know, you're literally boxing with the best. It's, you know, you're sparring with the best. You're doing it with the best, and sometimes you're, as a fellow actor, you're the beneficiary of that, and you get to fall into that rhythm with them and fall into that the cadence and the way a scene goes. When you're working with amazing people, it's so much easier. It's just so much easier, right?
Oh yeah, that's a great answer. That's absolutely true. In fact, when I was working with Colin, I would fall into it so much that I kept referring to him as Sal.
and just how lovely and welcoming Colin was from the table read. From the fucking table read. Here was a guy who was just like, hey man, I'm so happy you're here. It's just gonna be great. Like, you have your lead actor as a cheerleader. You know, you have nowhere to go but in the right direction.
We met at the press conference.
Oh yeah, hey.
And one of the things that we talked about was how it reminded me so much of Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
And how much you took from that. And going forward, I still see little bits and pieces, and like you just said, with the Easter eggs. But is there another property from the Batman universe that you would want to take and go around that same route that was Penguin?
You know, for me, I always have to just find an emotional connection to it. Like I thought the Penguin was such an interesting character because there hasn't been so many iterations of the Penguin, and I understood this idea of him being an underdog and that ambition and kind of ran with it from there. I mean, I just think there's so many tremendous comic book characters, I don't know who I'd be allowed to use, you know? It's like there's Matt's universe and there's DC universe, and I get to be in this sandbox for now, and I don't know beyond that who I
You gotta
get
get
to
Mr.
be.
Freeze on the show.
Hey, man. Look, there's so many great characters, right? Yeah.
I think